Hey guys, how's it going? Gilly here from Retro Oasis, and today I have a video with the first impressions of the Miyoo Mini. This is a new retro handheld console from Miyoo. It's tiny, ultra portable, and very promising, so let's have a look at it. Welcome to the Oasis. Okay, let's start with the basic specs here. The CPU is the Sigma Star SSD202D with two ARM Cortex A7 cores at 1.2 GHz. The GPU is 2D here, so the power to emulate 3D systems like the original PlayStation will come from the CPU. It has 128 MB of RAM and it comes with a 32 GB SD card for storage. It comes with a 1900 mAh battery that can get you 4 to 5 hours of gameplay. The display is 2.8 inches IPS with the resolution 640 by 480 and the aspect ratio 4 by 3. And in my opinion is perfect for the systems that's going to emulate here. And the OS here is Linux based. The Miyoo Mini at the time of this video costs around $60, which is pretty fair with what you get here. And I'll leave the purchase link in the description if you're interested. The first thing I noticed when I got the device in my hands is the size. It's tiny. It's the size of a pack of cigarettes. It feels like a smaller version of the original Game Boy. I picked this cream, kind of beige color that reminds me a little bit of the original Game Boy, but just a little bit. There's a white version as well, but I wonder if it will get dirty with time. And when I say it's small, it's really small. You can literally hold in the palm of your hand. Just look at it beside the RG280V. And for a little bit more reference, side by side with the RG351P. Another thing that's very noticeable is the display. It's only 2.8 inches, but it takes half of the device real estate. The bezels here are tiny. And I don't think I've ever seen that before in a portable handheld console. And I think it really gives you a more immersive experience. In the front we have the D-pad, a function button in the middle, A, B, X, Y, and the select and start. And in the right bottom here, the speaker. On top we have three LED indicator lights that tells you when the console is charging, running out of battery, or etc. And the power button. On the bottom, we have the headphone jack, the memory card port, and the USB Type-C port for charging. On the left, we have the volume wheel, and in my opinion, this is perfect. I'm kind of old school and I really prefer the volume wheel over the buttons. I think it's much easier and quick to adjust the volume this way. Nothing on the right. And in the back, we have the shoulder buttons, L1, R1, L2, R2. Actually, the L1 and R1 are called just L and R. And one of the cool things of this device is that it has a removable battery. I still haven't found this specific model for this device for sale, but I think it's just a matter of time until we see it for sale on AliExpress or Banggood due to the success of this device. The D-pad reminds me a lot of the original Super Nintendo controllers, or even the SN30 Pro from 8-bit though, just a little smaller of course. It's very responsive and I didn't have any issues with fighting games. And I'm really bad at fighting games. A, B, X, and Y are quite small and very glossy. The buttons' letters are on the device's body and they are also very responsive. And for a compact device like this one, I think they are the right size. Select and start are made of plastic and they do remind me of the original Game Boy. I wish they had used like rubber buttons like the original Super Nintendo. I think it would have been a nice touch. The shoulder buttons, well, technically they are not on the shoulder, are very clicky, but also very responsive. And as you can see here, L2 and R2 are slightly elevated. So when you hold the device in the position, it's easier to differentiate one to the other. Now talking about overall build quality, I think it's pretty damn good for the price. All the seams fit very well, as it should be. The plastic used here is pretty robust, kind of different from other consoles. It just feels like a good quality device. The body is not glossy, it has a matte finish to it, which helps with the fingerprints. Even so, I can still see my fingerprints on the buttons, and even in some parts of the body. But it's not that bad. That's a little different with this screen. its fingerprint magnet. I'm always with my flannel by my side to clean it up. Since it occupies half of the console, it's pretty easy to put your hands on it when you grab the console. And the display, it is one of the main attractions of the Miyoo Mini. This resolution 640 by 480 on a 2.8 screen makes everything pop, and it's very sharp. I don't think you have any issues to read any kind of text here, even if it's small. And even though I've seen some YouTubers saying that the display is a bit foggy, I don't have anything to complain here. I still want to do an in-depth review of the Miyoo Mini, so maybe consider subscribe to the channel for this video. And this is the interface you see when you turn on the device. It's very simple and easy to navigate. The first option, Recent, will show, well, as you figure, the recent games you played. Favorite will show the games you add to your favorite list. In the Games section, you'll find all the standalone emulators this device supports. In RetroArch, you will find all the cores that are compatible with the Miyoo Mini. In the Apps section, you'll find a couple of Chinese apps, also OpenBore and RetroArch. And in Setting, you'll find some basic configuration. You can adjust brightness, language, do some key mapping, stuff like that. And to start a game, you just need to go to Game, choose the system, and start your choice with A. When you press the function button in a game, a small menu will pop with a few options. You can save, load, exit the game, and you can also go into the native menu of the emulator. And since these are standalone emulators, the menu will be kind of different from one to the other. In this case here, in Game Boy Advance, we can restart the game, save state, load state, and we have an extra menu of options. Here we can set the system to full screen if we want to. So if you're running your game through these standalone emulators, it's always good to check the options in case you want to change something. Another option we have is running the games using RetroArch. To do that, you just need to choose the RetroArch section, choose your core with A, then choose your game also with A. One small detail is that I had to do an extra configuration step to get RetroArch running here. But I will show what I did in the in-depth review of this device. And when you press the function button, now we have the RetroArch menu here. The problem is in this version of RetroArch, any adjustments that I do in settings won't save it here. I can try to turn on integer scale, for example, but when I go back to the game, it's not on. But I think this issue is easily fixable with a firmware update, or even with a custom firmware. And we already have people working on one. So at this time, I think the best thing to do is to play using the standalone emulators. In the end, even though the menu is very simple, you have everything you need to start playing, while you wait for the update or the custom firmware. But let me show you some gameplay, starting with the NES. I was actually surprised with the quality of the emulation of the original PlayStation here, considering the Miyoo Mini has only a 2D GPU. All the games I tested were working very well. The Miyoo Mini is the definition of bang for your buck, in my opinion. There are other models that claim to run the same systems, but they fall short, and it's in this area that Miyoo Mini exceeds. In this package, we have a great screen, responsive controls, and an interface simple, fast, and easy to use. Of course, not everything is perfect. There's additional steps that you have to do to make the games playable using RetroArch. And still, we have the issue with the RetroArch not saving the settings. But I know this will be fixed with an update or a custom firmware. This is a retro handheld console that showed up out of nowhere and wowed a lot of people. Even the company, Miyoo, I don't think they realized such a great device they had in their hands. Till not long ago, the Miyoo Mini was sold out. And the great news is that so far, Miyoo has released more than 3 updates for this device. It shows that the company is focused in improving the user experience. And that's very different from other Chinese companies out there. And I can say one thing for sure. Just after a few minutes playing with the Miyoo Mini, I knew it would be my favorite retro handheld to carry with me wherever I go. Being so small and ultra portable, and with a quick and easy interface to use, it's a perfect device for a quick game fix on your way to work or school. So if you like the Miyoo Mini and maybe you want to pick one up, I left the purchase link in the description of this video, and buying with this link, you don't pay anything extra and you're giving support to the channel's content. Thanks for that. I still want to do an in-depth review of the Miyoo Mini, so consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this one. If this video was helpful to you, don't forget to leave a like before you go and maybe share on social media. Once again, Gilly here from the Retro Oasis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.